What's up guys, Chidester here teaching you how to build profitable online businesses, and in today's episode we're going to be going through how to have great team culture and then how to handle employees who either want to leave or have had a discussion with you about leaving. Stay tuned, we'll go through that all in this episode.
Alright Tom, back to Shitville.
Alright dude, Alex, welcome back to Shitville.
Yo Alex, make sure you get my outfit on camera, bro. This is fucking top notch. Alright bro, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
See you again, and see me whenever, text me whenever, okay? Alright dude, have a good one.
So what I want to hit on real quick is how to deal with employees when they want to leave or they want to move on to other opportunities. So one thing I'm super proud of in my company is that I have only had 2 people leave in 4 years that were not an entry-level employee. So that means like a sales rep, a manager, a COO, CFO, etc. So anyone who started with me is still with me over a 4-year period, minus a few level entry individuals. The reason for that is one, what I talked about earlier about how I treat them and really just having open conversations. When they want something, I say, hey look, like I understand why you want this because X, Y, and Z, here's what's best for the business, how can we meet in the middle? So I'll give you 2 examples. One guy that did leave, he was a sales rep for me, he was making about $30,000 to $40,000 a month of commission, but he came to me and said, hey Tanner, I wanna make $100,000 a month. Realistically, that just wasn't possible for him inside my business because there was no reason to pay him that amount. And so I simply said, dude, we would love to keep you, but there's no way I can pay that. Is there any way we can make it work to where you still will be here? And he just simply was like, no, dude, like I appreciate it so much. You've been great, but like I'm ready to go be my own business owner. That situation, there's not much you can do. I'll give you another situation. I had 2 of these situations. I had one guy who was a media buyer. I have another guy, well actually they were both media buyers. And they wanted to make more money, but based off the production they were doing or what they were currently doing, it didn't make sense. And so what I did is I actually let them take over their own division inside the company that they can run, and they essentially get 5% of the revenue plus what they are getting paid. So as they produce more revenue in that division, it allows them to make more and they get to still be in my company. And so a lot of times it's just meeting people halfway. Like most people, they only leave for 2 reasons. They either want to get paid more or they don't like you or how you're treating them, right? So a lot of times handling the pay is easy if you just give them more opportunities and more ways to create work or to generate revenue. And so in both those instances, I was able to keep both of those guys. They do great work for me, but they're also able to kind of build their own dream inside my business. But I think that's one of the reasons I've been successful is because as long as I see someone working hard, I will try to reward that by giving them ways to make more money if they cannot make more money in their current position, right? Because there is profit margins, there is just, you know, a certain amount that you can pay for each position based off the value it brings the company. But what I found is give them other ways to generate more revenue, whether it's creating a division or starting a new company for you and being the CEO. A lot of people, if they enjoy the environment, they will appreciate that and they will honor that and they'll stay loyal to you. Other than that, I've only had one guy leave and we left on good terms because it was in his best interest. Understand that when you're the CEO, don't be selfish enough to think that other people can't do what's best for them. There's a few people who will make their employees that I know personally very bad for leaving, and they'll put them down and say you're not gonna make it. And in reality, you need to be their biggest cheerleader, because if they helped you build your company and gave you a good effort, all you should do is shut your mouth and be their biggest supporter after they decide to leave. So hope that helps. I'll give you guys some more tips later. I'm gonna get back to work. Peace.
I woke up today about 4:15. I go through, well, today I was doing Spanish. So what I do is I'll try to wake up and I'll either go straight to the gym, or if I'm struggling to get stuff done, so like I get to the end of the day and I feel tired or I don't feel like doing it, I'll move it to the beginning of my day. So usually you want to do the most important things in your day first. Most people even say don't go to the gym first thing in the day, but I prefer it because no one bothers me, right? And as soon as my day gets going, I'm getting asked questions in multiple companies. Spanish is getting better, need to do more, but being in Puerto Rico helps. So we're about to head to the gym and then I'll catch you guys later.
What's up guys? So just finished the workout back in the Sex Mobile. So I just wrote a post. The last few years, I would say, especially this year, I would say there were times I was super depressed because as I gained more wealth, I didn't really feel much better. I thought like I would feel like a lot more fulfilled or happier, I guess you could say. There's more status, cars, girls, stuff like that, but that stuff didn't really seem to make me feel better overall. That kind of depressed me for a while because I started thinking, you know, what's the point of life? Like if we're here and nothing really matters and nothing we do is really going to be remembered, right? And so I think something that was super empowering to me was to realize that there really isn't a point, whether you're religious or not. Like beyond being a good person, I don't think there's much of a point to what you do in life in general, like the work you do, who you date, who you marry, where you live, etc., right? So I think what it comes down to, what helped me was just finding a purpose that you can get behind and then doing that. And so what I came down to and realized was I really value 3 things. First one is I like to work. Like I genuinely enjoy work. And so I don't feel like I'm sacrificing my life to work, like I enjoy it, right? 2, I love to travel. And so I realized, I was like, hey, if I'm gonna be traveling the world a lot, why be in the US and pay 40% taxes when I can live in Puerto Rico and pay 4 and still travel? And then 3, it was the tax part. And something that's really annoyed me is as I've created more wealth, is not having a say in where my money goes, right? The government essentially says, hey, pay 40%, you have no say where it goes. And so I was like, you know what? How about I just go to a place where they don't tax me, and then I can put my money where I want to, into the causes I care about, or into the business ventures I care about. Because as I make more money, I want to create new businesses with that wealth, right? I want to put it into ideas. So if you can base your life around the purpose of what it is that means the most to you and do that, you'll find a lot more fulfillment than chasing things that at the end of the day you don't really care about, but other people may give the perception that they're important and they're just not. So like, oh, like I can do this. Like it kind of reinforced that belief. So I think for beginners, one of the main focuses I do is I'm trying to get them a sale as fast as humanly possible so that they can create that belief. Because I think the longer they go without it, the doubt starts to creep in, the fear starts to creep in, and all of a sudden they quit. And I look back now, I would go from, you know, doing over 30 something million in sales, I think we're around 35 now, to just, you know, I probably made $200,000 as an engineer at this point. Do you have the sheet in there that's like a week? Are you doing the weekly check-in thing?
I don't have the weekly check-in thing.
Okay.
But my coaches already do that, and
okay. Well, so you don't have to.
We necessarily need to.
You don't have to, but we send it out and it automatically goes out and they fill it out. Like I gave you the best advice I can. I just think like there's not an easy fix. There's not a quick fix, and I think that would make sense for you right now, but there's just not. It kind of goes back to the advice I gave you last time. What's up, guys? So just doing a little bit of work. No Pants Tuesday. I don't know if you can even see that. Ew. It's PG-13 in here. But what I wanted to talk about real quick was team culture and essentially how to set the tone. So the easiest way to think about team culture is very simple, is everyone will follow the leader. So if the leader's in a bad mood, the team will be in a bad mood. If the leader's happy, the team will be happy. If the leader works hard, the team will typically work hard. And so the number one thing about being the CEO or leading a company is you have to definitely be the hardest worker in the room, and you can expect whatever you want as long as you're willing to do it yourself, right? That's how you gain the respect of your team. The other thing is whenever someone does something they're not supposed to do, you need to immediately let them know it's not okay, right? Doesn't mean you scream and yell, but anything that you let slip by, right? People will assume that it's okay to do. So if they show up late to a meeting, if they miss a sales call, if they say the wrong thing, if they don't do an SOP, if they don't fill out their EOD sheet, which would be end of day, all those things will add up to create a terrible culture, and it starts to feed and infect the company. So what I recommend is, if you want to read more on that, you can actually read a book by Jocko Wilco, I think it is. He was a Navy SEAL. I don't remember how to say his name properly, I apologize, but it's called The Dichotomy of Leadership. And so if you're too nice to people, they're kind of like your friend, but they don't really respect your authority. But if you're too mean, right, too polar opposite, they'll do what you say, but they resent you, right? And so the balance is getting them in the middle where there's respect and there's also kind of love, and you get the best out of people. And so over the years, try to relax a little more, even though my teammates say sometimes I don't. But I try to relax a little more, but I always am very quick to point out stuff that we shouldn't do, but then also very quick to say, hey, you did this very well, this is a great job, these are the top producers, and reward that behavior. And if you do that, what it does inside your culture is it starts to let people know that certain things will not be tolerated. And you need to have that, but at the same time let them know you care about them, you want them to be here. And sometimes it can be as simple as having a very direct conversation. There's another great book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. If you haven't read it, I highly suggest you do. And it talks about that. It's how to approach people. It's how to say things in certain ways. And it comes much more naturally to me now than maybe it did as a kid. Some people it doesn't come too naturally at all. Some people who I see want to run a business or make a lot of money, their downside is they have no idea how to lead people or get the most out of people.
Just 2 birds.
You get all 5 modules, scripts, templates, videos, and more for only $37. Just finished shooting some ads with my main man, Alex, behind the camera. So I want to talk about real quick how to hire employees. Now, this can be the most difficult part of being an entrepreneur and a business owner, because when you start having to hire people, it's not how good you are, it's how good they are, right? And what you don't want to do is waste a lot of time on the wrong fits. So typically what I'll do is you can go out initially, go out to your social media, your email list, if you already have leads coming into your business, ask people if they're interested in XYZ position. If you don't, you can then also go on Indeed and ZipRecruiter. Those have been the top places I find people. Now, once you do that and you bring them into your world, you want to pay them a very small amount to go through training. I highly recommend you do training, because if you don't, you're going to waste a lot of time talking to the right people. So what I do is I use a portal called Kajabi. Okay, it's essentially a training software. You can also put products in there. And we created training on certain roles, right? All the roles are in there and they go through that. At the end of that, we will then give them a test. If they pass the test and they do well enough, then we will start moving them into an active training phase. And then from there, we will give them a final offer. Everyone's gonna apply for a job, and a lot of times it's hard to tell just off one simple interview how good they are. Not only that, it's a waste to interview up front. I don't like doing that. What I do like to do is tell them and pay them to do some training. Why? Because 90% of the people right off the bat won't do it. So they automatically will disqualify themselves from my business. After they do the training, then that shows me that, hey, they're serious about this, they really do want this, and then we can look to see how skilled they are. If they pass both those tests, then we will move them into active training. And by doing this, I've saved a lot of time, a lot of headache, a lot of stress by not having to let people go consistently who've worked for my company. Hope that's helpful. We're headed to dinner in just a little bit. Again, it's been a long day. I'm headed to San Francisco tomorrow. Catch you guys later. And then how can I hire a coach? And then have that coach start taking over all the fulfillment, like all of it. And then for
we got like 26 right now, 75K in rev.
Dude, man, I'm glad we're finally able to link. It's I've been following. I mean, I kind of like just like we first connected, man. Been following you from afar for since you first took off. Like, what was the year you went from 1 to 10? Was that 2019, 2020? It's like a year and a half ago.
No, that was 2000. No, 2019, 2020, we did 15.
Yeah.
So it was the year before, so I think it was 2018 to 2019.
Yeah, dude, and I think the thing that I resonated with the most was the athletic background. I wrestled in high school. I stopped in uni. But you played Division I football?
Yeah, and then it was like,
and you got injured, right?
that's all I did, bro. I just got injured. I mean, that was like what I wanted to do in my life. And then,
What is the obsession? Would you say the obsession and the drive that you had with that sport? Dude, like all those lessons, right? Carried right over, and like give you a massive advantage, even from a work ethic standpoint. Dude, I love this, man. This is a fantastic conversation. What's the vision, man? Like I've seen you read books on, like you wanna. Is the vision to be a billionaire one day? Like to be a 10-figure earner?
yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't think I'm like married to it, but I think I can do it.
Yeah.
I'm making enough to.
Have the drive, have the knowledge. Have the
Yeah, I
IQ.
mean, so I just
Yeah.
like to grow. I don't think I'm like I don't think I'm like I have to be a fucking millionaire. I just think like I'm gonna keep growing, and I like growing, so I just think
enjoy the work,
it can
enjoy the
naturally. I think it
process.
can naturally happen. I mean, grow's like nothing, bro. It's like because it's like they got those pockets.
Yeah, so I just had lunch, or I had dinner with Tanner, and I just gotta say, dude, Tanner is a straight up beast. The integrity he has, the ideas he has, and just the drive that he has to want to continue to grow and add value to other people. I'd say if you are considering working with him, I would make that decision now before prices go up, because you're getting to steal the work of the he's